Good morning to everyone.
Good morning.
Josie, I'm guessing you, like the rest of us, and absolutely loved that game last night. What a game of football that was.
Yeah, it was. It was. It's always a pity for a team that loses on penalties. Always that feeling of undeserved or unlucky, but is the reality of football. And when you go to penalties, we used to say lucky, unlucky, but I would always prefer to say that they managed the emotions better. They coped with extreme pressure situation in a better way. So the one that wins deserves to win. But really, big football match.
Yeah. Jose, somebody got you to say that football's coming home the last time you were on the radio. Are you sticking by that? Do you still think that England can go all the way?
Yeah, absolutely yes. But I would also think, be careful, be careful. Um, because Denmark is not Ukraine. So the same way I was telling before the Ukraine game, no problem if Garrett decides to rest one of the boys with the danger of suspension. No problem if Garrett decides to rest Maguire because he comes from a big injury. The same way I was completely convinced that was going to be an easy match. This one I keep thinking and thinking that it's coming home, but I would say be careful, because it's a complete different game in terms of the level, the experience of the opposition. Denmark can make it.
Josie, I want to ask you if I may. Obviously, Harry Kane, 3 goals, 2 games. There's goals in Sterling. Henderson get his first goal. They have been pretty impressive, England, offensively. But I think the story so far has been the clean sheets, Maguire's performance, Pickford. They've looked really, really solid defensively. Has that surprised you?
Didn't surprise me too much. And when the Euro started and I saw the profile of the team, I understood that was very, very important for them. I understood that Garrett was strong in the sense of not being influenced by us. When I say us, I say the football world or the football English community. When they played against Scotland, and of course everyone was almost demanding an attacking show and go for it and destroy Scotland, beat the rival. They knew that one point was enough. They felt that the game was difficult. The approach to the game, but especially the way the game ends, was about controlling it. Against Germany, they changed the system to make it, let's say, easier by the sinking point of view for every player. They thought about controlling the wing backs. They adapted to it. Then they go to the game of Ukraine, and of course, for me, is a game out of the context because Ukraine had no potential to be there. So it was the kind of game that doesn't give me a lot. I don't take any conclusions from the game against Ukraine. But since the beginning, you could feel that England was pragmatic, even on the substitutions in the last part of matches. Always kept in this double pivot, if you can call that, in midfield. They were all about being solid and believing that the goal would always arrive because the talent up front is so big. But I really believe that for them was really important, that feeling of security, that feeling of is going to be very difficult to score against us. And then you see also in the defensive set pieces the way they are focused, the way they are dominant. So yeah, they are very, very solid.
We saw, and like you say, a completely different game against Denmark. Against Ukraine, went back to a back four. Do you think we'll see him stick with that? Or do you think with it being a different game, he might go back to the three at the back?
I don't see a reason for that. I saw a reason for that against Germany because they were still a powerful team. They were still a team that was going to be very strong on the wings with Kimmich and Guzans, and then they don't score a lot of goals, but Müller is still Müller. Werner is always a dangerous player. Havertz, all these players playing from the inside made sense to play with three made sense, to be consistent and to be in control, not just of the depth, but also of the width. I felt that they needed to do that against Ukraine in spite of the play. In terms of the diagram, positional diagram, very similar, but the quality was not for that. So England come back to 4. And tonight, I would consider, in terms of potential, Denmark in between Ukraine and Germany, but I don't think you need that, because they're going to be difficult to break unless something happen very, very fast. But I don't think they're going to be easy to break, but they are going to be easier to control defensively. I don't think England needs to play with a back 5 to be consistent. I don't think so, because I believe that the two wing backs, Larsson and Male, they are going to be much more worried with Walker and Shaw, both playing very well at the time, than to be very, very offensive. I believe that they are going to play with a block of 5 defensive players centrally, Vestergaard, Kjaer, Christensen, plus Højbjerg and Delaney, a block of 5 very central, and then Mala and Larsson on the sides. I believe that they are going to be right and left back much more than right and left wing. England will need to break them, not to control them. So I don't think you need to take one of the creative players to play with an extra defender. I don't think you need to play Walker as the third centre back. They can build and protect with 3 in the back on the building up with Walker, but I don't feel the need to play with the back 5.
Jose, where do you see Denmark targeting today? Do you think it's down our right-hand side and their left-hand side where they'll target?
I don't think so. I think they will be based on this block of 5, where I include Schmeichel, and I would say a block of 6. Schmeichel, then Vestergaard, Kjaer and Christensen, Højbjerg and Delaney. We are speaking about 6 very, very good and very experienced players. All of them, all these 6, Premier League, Bundesliga, Serie A. We are speaking really about top level players, and this block is what is going to give them solid. They are going to be solid with this block, and I think they will be just waiting for good transitions and people like Damsgaard, which is surprising everybody because he was not even being a first choice player for Sampdoria, but he exploded, especially after Christian had the problem. Bright White is a guy that can hurt. He's not a super player, but he can hurt. And Dolberg is another one that didn't have a great season at Nice, but then he's coming to the Euros and playing and scoring goals. And he was a very good young player at Ajax, very talented player. I think they will go much more to be consistent. They are going to be waiting for England. They know that England doesn't take many risks. England football is based on being solid and going from there. I think they are going to try to be the same. They are not going to risk a lot. I don't expect to see Højbjerg and Delaney to leaving this block to arrive in the box to try to create much. I think they are going to be very consistent. I believe that is going to be consistency against consistency. What do I expect? I expect the talented players of England, because they have so many on the pitch and also so many on the bench, that they can come later and create new difficulties and new intensity in the game. That's what I expect to happen. England has better players in attack, and hopefully it's from there that they are going to beat, if England dominates them by the defensive point of view, which I think they will.
Josie, I agree in the respect that I think it's so important that England's wide men push Mala and Stiga Larsson back, because I did the Czech Republic Denmark game, and watching that game, it was really evident both teams from wide areas put the ball into the box and deliver crosses at every opportunity they get, and I think that would be, England's biggest concern if they allow the two wider boys to get forward. But also, as we saw, they are pretty dangerous, Denmark, at set plays. We saw the Delaney header. They've got a bit about them in set plays. Is that a fair comment?
Yeah, absolutely fair. In relation to the wing backs, even more on a system of three centre backs and without wingers to create is very, very important. The wing backs in their attacking football, and I think we agree both. Your words are very similar to my words in the sense of, if Shaw and Walker, they are going to be dominant and they are going to be offensive, they are going to scare them and they are going to keep them very, very low on the pitch. And when they are very low, it's more difficult for them to create. And on set pieces, they are very powerful. They have a few giants. The quality of the cross is normally also very good. They put lots of speed on the ball, one touch, a goal, one touch, a second ball. But I think England has also this. So what I see is two teams similar in the approach, similar in the way they think that pragmatism at this level is very, very important. But in the end, I hope that the English talent is going to win, because then you start comparing. You can compare the structures, you can compare the model of play if you want, the principles of play. But then if you compare the talent of especially the attacking English players and the attacking Danish players, there is clearly a difference. And hopefully Sterling, Kane's, I don't know who is playing, Saka or Foden or Sancho or Rashford or Mount or is non-stop. And as we could also see yesterday, these matches, they have 95, 93, 94 minutes, but maybe they have 2 hours of football. And when it comes to 2 hours of football, the changes, and there are a lot of possible changes, they can completely change the dynamics of the game. For example, yesterday I was feeling on the extra time where everybody was progressively dying, I was thinking if Adama Traore comes to this game in the last 15 or 20 minutes, Adama Traore is going to kill Chiellini, Bonucci, all these guys that were already in trouble. So I think England has this kind of player on the bench that normally is going to be on the bench. I give just Rashford as an example, that this guy has the potential to come and to play against a tired team and to change the game. And Denmark doesn't have this potential on the bench. Garrett will look to the right, will look to the left, and you will see lots of good players to change the direction of the game. So England has different ammunition, and I would say also different responsibility, different support from the stadium. So normally England should be in the big final against Italy.